Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately useless. Denzel Washington.
After 40, something shifts inside you, not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, like a truth that waits until you're finally ready to hear it. One day, you wake up and you realize you've been living on autopilot, acting from old habits, old wounds, old expectations, and the man you are today isn't the man you were supposed to remain. And then it hits you. Hard, clean, undeniable. You can reset. Not your age, not your past, but your direction. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Let me explain. There's a moment after 40 when life stops being a race and becomes a mirror. You start seeing things you used to ignore. The weight of your choices, the meaning behind your patterns, the cost of your compromises. And for the first time, you begin to understand something younger you would have never believed. Clarity comes with age, strength comes with experience, peace comes with wisdom. It's not that life becomes easier, it's that you become harder to shake. You see through people faster. You sense energy quicker. You recognize nonsense immediately. You spot manipulation, laziness, excuses, and emotional games instantly. Because you've lived long enough to know what they lead to. When you were younger, you didn't see the trap coming. Now after 40, you see the trap, the bait, and the cage from a mile away. And something inside you whispers, I'm done repeating old cycles. Not because you're tired, but because you're finally awake. That's the beginning of the reset. Most people think a reset means starting over, throwing everything away, burning the past, and running into the unknown. But that's not what the reset after 40 is. A real reset is deeper, more intentional, more intelligent. It's not a dramatic external change. It's an internal correction, a recalibration. The reset button is a decision. I refuse to live the rest of my life the way I lived the first half. You stop lying to yourself. You stop shrinking yourself. You stop tolerating what breaks your peace. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop explaining your worth. You stop entertaining nonsense. You stop saying yes when everything in your gut screams no. That's the reset. It's not a restart. It's a realignment. You finally start honoring who you've become instead of who you used to be. After 40, there are truths you can finally carry without fear. Truth number 1, not everyone is meant to go with you. Some people were only meant to be chapters, not the whole book. Holding on to old connections keeps you living an old identity. Truth number 2, peace is more important than approval. You'd rather be alone with your integrity than surrounded with people who drain your spirit. Truth number 3, you don't get time back, and that realization shakes you awake. It makes every decision heavier, more intentional, more serious. Because now, you know the truth. Your time is the real currency, and your attention is the real treasure. When you're young, you chase everything. Opportunities, validation, people, status, experiences. After 40, you chase something else entirely. Alignment. You want your life to match who you are. your relationships to match your values, your choices to match your future, your actions to match your purpose. That's why the reset becomes necessary, not optional, necessary. Because the life that fit the old you has become too small for the person you are becoming. This is where the shift truly begins. Not in theory, but in your day-to-day reality. There are 3 areas you must reset deliberately, and if you do, everything changes. Number 1, reset your circle. Not everyone deserves access to you anymore. You don't measure people by how long you've known them, but by how they impact your energy, your vision, and your peace. Your circle after 40 must be smaller but sharper, fewer people, but deeper conversations, less noise, but more meaning, less distraction, but more growth. You don't need cheerleaders. You need mirrors, challengers, and allies. You don't need people who clap for you. You need people who push you. And anyone who constantly drains your spirit, doubts your potential, or sabotages your peace, you reset the connection. Quickly, coldly, cleanly. No guilt, no drama, no fear. Because your peace is expensive, and now you know its value. Number 2, reset your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your limits, and the beliefs you built in your 20s and 30s were built by someone who didn't know what you know today. So now, after 40, you challenge them. You break the belief that says it's too late. You destroy the belief that says you missed your chance. You reject the belief that says you should settle. You refuse the belief that says life is already decided. You know the truth now. Your mind was programmed by survival, but your future must be created by intention. Your beliefs evolve because you've evolved. Number 3, reset your direction. Not drastically, not desperately, not impulsively, but intentionally. You stop moving without purpose. You stop chasing without clarity. You stop running without direction. After 40, your life becomes strategic. You don't ask, what do other people expect from me? You ask, what do I want the next 20 years to look like? And suddenly, your habits shift. Your priorities sharpen. Your boundaries strengthen. You start building momentum. Not from chaos, but from clarity. That's the real reset. Here's the truth. No one tells you. Your potential doesn't peak before 40. It activates after 40. Why? Because now, you have experience. You've lived enough to know what matters. You have discipline. Not the discipline of motivation, but the discipline of survival, responsibility, and reality. You have emotional intelligence. You know your strengths. You know your triggers. You know your values. You have resilience. You've been knocked down. You've rebuilt yourself. You've carried burdens younger men would have collapsed under. You have clarity. You know what you want. More importantly, you know what you no longer want. And you have less fear. Not because life is easier, but because you've already lived through things that would have destroyed the old you. This combination, experience, discipline, resilience, clarity, creates something younger men rarely have. Momentum. Not fast momentum, not chaotic momentum, but intentional momentum. And intentional momentum is unstoppable. There comes a day, after 40, where everything inside you shifts. Not because you're angry, not because you're desperate, but because you're done betraying yourself. You look at your life and you decide, I'm not living another year out of alignment. you choose yourself, your growth, your peace, your potential, your truth. And the moment you do, life begins to rearrange itself around your decision. New opportunities appear, new people enter, old patterns break, old fears fade. Because when you choose yourself, you stop living small. You stop living numb. You stop living distracted. You start living awake. That's the day the reset becomes irreversible. Not because of motivation, not because of inspiration, but because of identity. You're no longer the man who tolerates what breaks him. You're the man who protects what builds him. The man who knows himself, respects himself, values himself. That's the man who thrives after 40. So here you are, at an age where society tells you to slow down, and yet something inside you is rising. A pressure, a fire, a calling. Not a midlife crisis, a midlife awakening. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're not declining. You're entering the strongest chapter of your life. Because now you have clarity, wisdom, resilience, direction, courage, self-respect, and a deeper hunger for meaning. This isn't the end. This is the first time you're living consciously. So if you're standing at the edge of a decision, if you feel something inside you saying, reset, don't ignore it. That's not fear. That's not doubt. That's not confusion. That is your future calling you forward. And when you answer it, your entire life shifts. So hear me clearly. You don't need a new life. You need a new direction. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need permission. You need courage. You don't need to start over. You need to reset. This is your moment, your second act, your return to yourself. And when you press that reset button, everything you thought you lost, everything you thought you missed, everything you thought was over comes back to life. Your potential, your strength, your purpose, your truth. So breathe, stand tall, and step forward. Your reset begins now. Let's thrive after 40.